Hello and welcome to Paul's Kitchen. Today we're going to make chocolate chip cookies. Quite a simple recipe, but a good way of getting you started. Now you should have a recipe giving you the equipment you need and the ingredients, which we'll go through in a moment. As you can see, I'm wearing an apron, protect myself and also keep my clothes clean. Make sure before you start you've washed your hands and that your bench is clean and tidy. Clean your bench by cloth with soapy water, and if you have got some sanitizer, you can clean it with some sanitizer. Make sure your bench is clean and tidy. If we look at our recipe, you can see that with the equipment we need, I'm going to need a mixing bowl. We're going to need a plastic spoon or similar. We're going to need some teaspoons. We're going to need a fork. We're going to need some dessert spoons, 2 of. And we've got some baking parchment here, which I've already cut to fit my baking tray. We've got a cooling wire, which is here. Some scissors to cut my parchment paper. I need a palette knife or a fish slice to take off my hot cookies to put onto my wire, cooling wire. You can also see I've got some scales there as well. Everybody have different kinds of scales. That's what kind of scales I happen to have in my kitchen. So if we look at the recipe, I've got everything nicely laid out and weighed out already. I've got some sugar, soft brown sugar. I've got some soft margarine, or it could be your butter you've softened, an egg, some self-raising flour, some chocolate, and some vanilla essence. So we're going to start putting it together now. So if you read our recipe, first of all what I have to do, weigh and measure out the ingredients, which we've done, which is part 1. The second part is preheat the oven to 180 degrees. I've got a smoke full. Everybody has slightly different ovens, so you might have to talk to people about how best your oven works, but it is about practice. So the first thing we do in our mixing bowl is we're going to add our sugar, and we're going to add our soft margarine. We're going to give that a bit of a mix together. It'll take a minute to come together. You have to work with a bit of muscle power until you get a nice creaming effect to it. You can see it's going now. It's easy if your butter or margarine is soft. Don't try and do it if it's hard. You've no chance. So bring that, you see it's starting to come together now. You see that? We're going to really give that a bit of work. You see it's creaming together. Get off your spoon and your spoon like that. Bring it together again. See how it's coming together. And now I've got a nice, all nicely mixed together. Like that. The next thing we need is to break our egg into a bowl. Make sure you don't get any eggshell in there. Bit of a whisk. Make sure it's all nicely whisked together. And add it to your margarine and your sugar. Now mix that together. So it's coming together now. Then add your flour. A little bit of time to start with. Mix it in. Drop it too fast on that. You don't want to have flour coming out all over your bowl, all on the floor. That causes a hazard on your floor. You want to slip on stuff on your floor. Add the rest of the flour. And let that come together. See, I've spilt a bit on the floor. I'm in trouble now. So bring that together. It's a nice mix. Now we're going to add a little bit of vanilla essence. What I normally do, don't pour it in like that, put a little bit in the lid. Just want you to cut the drops in the lid like that and put that back on. Now we're going to bring that all together again. It's nicely mixed. Now I've got some cooked chocolate here. If you haven't got chocolate chips, then you need to cut some chocolate up. I've used dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate. You could use white chocolate, you could do milk chocolate, whichever you prefer. We're then going to add those two together. And now we've got our chocolate cookie mix. It's all ready now to portion up. Now the chocolate cookie mix we're going to put onto our paper. The paper means it won't stick to our tray, and also it makes it easier to clean. Now I've got self-raising flour in here in this mix, so it means that the cookies are going to rise. So we use our 2 spoons, our 2 dessert spoons, and we put some onto the end of our mix. Put it down like that. And we're going to leave a little bit of space between each one, like that. So you see, got a bit of space between each one, so when they expand, we aren't going to end up with an entire tray of cookie mix. I'm going to go down all the way till we've got them onto the tray. You can see how I've got a bit of space between each one to mix them. When we do that, we've filled our tray. We're going to put them into the oven. And those are the ones I did earlier, so we'll come back to those in a second. And I'm going to put these ones into the oven when I've completed the mix. While your cookies are in the oven, you need to make sure that you've cleaned all your bench. So nice and tidy, and it will take about 10 minutes or so for your cookies to cook. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our wire. We'll leave these to cool for just a couple of minutes, just literally about 2 minutes. And you can see when I took them out of the oven, I folded my cloth to make sure it was nicely folded. And it's a dry cloth. If you're wet cloth, you're going to burn your hands. So now, either use a palette knife or a fish slice, whichever you happen to have available, and we're just going to take those off like that. And you see, because I put a bit of space between each one, they've actually not stuck to one another. And that is our chocolate chip cookies. Thank you very much for listening. I'm sure I'll speak to you again. Thank you.